right. We are here today with my dear sister, Kepseva Bat Yehuda, who is the founder and owner of her wellness brand, Garden of Vitality, and also founder and servant of the ministry, Women of the Living Word. So I'm excited to have you here today, sister. And if you can just take a moment to just introduce yourself, and if you don't mind telling us what your name means, and just tell us a little bit about yourself so we can get to know you before we get into talking about your brand and your ministry.
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me and for having me here today.
Absolutely.
And shalom, shalom to you and your family and everyone tuning in to us as well. I'm very delighted to be here. And speaking of delight, that is what Kepseva means. It's taken from Isaiah 62, and it's regarding the nation becoming a delight to Yahuwah, and him delighting in us and us being married, not being forsaken any longer, no longer being cast away. And so that is my hope concerning him. And when he brought me into the growth that transitioned me from my given name, which is Willan, which I love. My mother gave me that name, inspired by my father. And when he transitioned me from my given name into my Hebrew name, Kepseva, that is my hope, to fulfill that, to be a delight, to be a sweet smelling fragrance for him, and to not be forsaken, but to be under his covenant for eternity, not blotted out, but written in. So that's what that's about. As for a little bit about my background, I'm a seasoned woman. I've been in this walk for close to 30 years. I'll be 51 next month. And I've had a vast array of experiences. I came through a kind of an interesting journey, as I was not raised in the faith, but I came in starting with Christendom when I was about 14. And then from there, kind of left Christianity very early, because the congregation that I belonged to was a congregation that taught that you should know God, as they called him, for yourself, and that you should read the Bible for yourself and know him, which great advice. So I cracked open the word and I started reading it for myself, so that I could understand the words without being reliant on a middleman to interpret for me. And that brought me to a place of searching Yah out. And in searching him out and observing what was going on around me, I could see very early that things did not line up. And so I had all these questions. And the more questions I had, the more answers Yah brought. And he brought me answers, and he developed me. And then by the time I was in my early 20s, he brought me into a Messianic congregation. This was in the early 90s. And so at that time, there weren't very many Messianic congregations. I won't get into the whole backstory of how I found them and all that, but I served there for 8 years, helped teach Shabbat school and kept the feast days and learned and grew before coming to this other leg of that journey. And so I'm very grateful that Yah has been contending with me all this time, and allowing me to be cultivated by him, because that is my desire.
That's good. That's good. 30 years. That's an awesome journey. Awesome journey. So
it has been.
So we're gonna talk a little bit more about some of your journey when we talk about your ministry. And I want to talk about your brand, Garden of Vitality. So how did you tell us what is it exactly that you do? What is the services that you offer?
I am based out of Tallahassee, Florida. And so Garden of Vitality is a wellness brand serving the whole person. I had a setback that started a few years ago where several things in my body came and just kind of exploded as a result of prolonged stress, trauma, anxiety, and several other things, and physical trauma. I'm proud to say that I'm a survivor, of having been hit by 2 cars as a pedestrian, and and having been in a few car accidents, none of my own fault, so there have been some challenges that I faced physically, and also walking my mother through 2 legs of a cancer journey. She first had Crohn's and diverticulosis, and then she had cancer of her colon. And she beat that.
Wow.
She beat that, went into remission. But as a result of having dealt with that, she had a surgery where she had part of her bowel removed. And in having part of her bowel removed, during that surgery, she had multiple blood transfusions. And at that time, this is in the early 80s, they were not screening the blood for Hep C. They weren't screening for HIV either, but they weren't screening for Hep C. And she ended up contracting Hep C through the blood transfusion and was undiagnosed with having Hep C for a number of years until it had started to reveal itself as destroying her liver. And so with that, I was the primary caretaker for my mother, who lived 6 years with liver cancer.
Wow.
Which is unheard of. Typically you have people gone within a number of months, with liver cancer. And so it changed me. It changed me because as Yah was growing me and teaching me in how to better care for my mother so that she had a quality of life, it brought attention to his garden, his instructions on how we should eat as being best. So not so much focused on a prohibition here or prohibition there. It was more do this, like you train children. You teach them, walk. Not so much, don't run, not so much stop all the time. But as I was trained in dealing with early childhood, it's best to tell them what to do, instead of focusing on so much what not to do. And so that's also one of the things that we do in my women's group. It is focused on what we should do, and that being said, that's part of how Garden of Vitality was born. As Yah has been restoring me, I have never really been one to feed into the whole construct of how Western medicine is laid out for us. It's more of, it's not wellness care, it's more sick care. And the sicker you are, the more it kind of fuels the business with the Western construct. And it's not so much that way in other countries.
Right.
And so Yah allowing me to be vulnerable because I needed to understand how to rest and how to take care of myself and to prioritize self-care and not being, as my therapist told me, because I did finally stop and go to therapy. And I promote that, that I had been too resilient for too long, and that the body is not meant to function like that. The body is not meant for you to just keep functioning that way. And that I needed to rest, which is a principle. We do rest. We rest, we lean into Yah. And we stop in order to give him room to move, and I'm just grateful for that. And so when I went through my setback, for a time, I was on quite a few prescriptions, close to 20, and I'm not on any of those prescriptions today. I started with no prescriptions, and then it was 1, and then the next thing it was 3, and then it was 5, and then it was like 16, 17, just here, just there. And And I was, what is happening here? And I'm grateful because what Abba has been doing is he has replaced all of those prescriptions with nutrition, with food, with whole food supplements and herbs, spices. I learned that I could take in more spices in my diet and eat my food as medicine. That is a very rare occasion I may have to take a muscle relaxer, but that's few and far, because I have some structural issues with regard to body impact. I've got bulging discs, I've got a couple things there, structural issues, but for the most part, I can handle it, with a bath tea, with an Epsom salt blend, the heating pad, with ice, heat combination, herbal therapy, spice therapy, water therapy, etc. And so as I've been progressing, I wanted to share that with others, that we could eat our food as medicine, and following and understanding Yah, who has given us every green herb, to help for our healing and healing waters, for us to learn how to get in alignment, to become plumb, to become alkaline, that we're electric beings, that those are very vital parts of our wellness in him. So that was a part of how Garden of Vitality was born. And I think vitality as in life, and also, that I'm in this beautiful green city, Tallahassee, and I like that little, play on words there, but mostly just getting back to the basics of being inside that intimate space in the garden with Yah. That's how it was born.
That's awesome. Wow. It's amazing how the Most High, we go through situations, a lot of times that are outside of our control, but the Most High will use that opportunity to step in to teach us, and then ultimately he's bringing us back into alignment, where he wanted us to be in the first place,
Right.
So praise Yah that he was able to heal your mom, able to heal and restore you, and as he takes us through that process of healing and restoring our bodies, also teaching us, he's restoring us spiritually, so praise Yah that, that you were able to go through that process, and then that you're at a place where you're able to share that with others. So what are some of the services that you offer with Garden of Vitality?
Just for a point of clarity, I would like to point out, my mom is no longer here.
Okay.
She did eventually succumb to her liver cancer diagnosis.
Okay.
But she did live 6 years with it diagnosed, and she lived, for the most part, she had a very high quality of life during that time, up until the very end. So I don't want to have a misconception there, regarding her experience or my experience with her. As for services that I provide custom herbal sea moss gel blends. I can also do, a standard sea moss gel. I have one here. This is a small size. This is an 8 ounce.
Okay.
And this is a full spectrum St. Lucian sea moss gel. I don't have any of the golden Chondrus crispus to show today. I actually just batched the last of that. But this sea moss gel is this color because it is this full spectrum sea moss. You can see the different colors here.
So tell us a little bit about the different types of, what are the different types of sea moss?
This is a Gracilaria sea moss. So it has the thinner strands, and the sea moss is from clean waters, from warm waters, St. Lucian waters, which is why it's called St. Lucian full spectrum. Okay. Depending on how the sea moss is dried, it affects the color. And so this sea moss, the way it was dried, it retained its full range of color. And so the phytonutrients are different from a sea moss that may be just golden or just green. You have the full range of phytonutrients there. So that's the benefit with the full spectrum sea moss.
Okay.
I also have Chondrus crispus sea moss, which is from Coldwater, which is the Irish sea moss. And as you know, different waters, they have different mineral nutrient makeup.
Okay.
But for the most part, a typical sea moss gel will give you up to 92 of the 102 trace minerals that the body needs to function well. And it's good for inflammation. It's good for clearing mucus. It's good for mental clarity. It's good for, helping with your digestion, increasing your libido, helping people who are dealing with various range of issues that could be also related to nutrition. Because your body starts its function off of its immune system, which
Right.
is off of its nutrition. So women who are experiencing hair loss or hair thinning and things like that, a lot of times the body will sacrifice your hair because it's dealing with other areas that it needs to resort to direct those resources to, so that you function better. Same thing happens with women who are carrying babies. If mom is not where she needs to be nutritionally, the baby will get their nutrients. If it has to pull nutrients out of mom's teeth, out of mom's hair, you'll find women who have brittle nails or thinning hair or loose teeth or losing teeth during their pregnancies because of, nutrition deficiencies from the pressure of having to make a whole human.
Right.
So that being said, I tend to offer people an opportunity to communicate, what is going on with you, that what areas of nutrition are you wanting to focus on, and then making tailored custom blends to suit what foods they're trying to get into that blend so it's a little bit more convenient. We know that some of these herbs can be a little rough on the palate, like for instance, black seed oil is wonderful. It does great for the body, but it is a gag, if you try to take it off the spoon. So I've been able to create some recipes and some blends that make it a little easier for us to get these, various herbs in, through a sea moss blend. You can take a tablespoon down and go, or throw it in a smoothie, and you've got your echinacea, you've got your elderberry, you've got your mullein, your moringa, your good nutrients, your butterfly pea flower, hibiscus, different things that help, with your nutrition, with inflammation or whatever it is that you're battling. You've got your ginger, you've got your vitamin C, in jam-packed in that sea moss blend. And so it's a lot more convenient than trying to, pull out, 10 herbs, hunt those down,
Right.
find organic sources. And I use mostly organic or non-GMO or non-GMO. It's a combination depending on what particular herb or vegetable or fruit is being used, but for the most part, I've been able to find USDA certified organic sources for the majority of my herbs, and definitely non-GMO for all of them, for my blends. And so that's a little bit about the sea moss. This is an immune support blend that I have created for a sister that is post-COVID. And she is trying to just recover her body, as far as fatigue and dealing with, we won't say that it has anything to do with the C word or anything like that.
Right.
Just nutritionally, a lot has been taken out of the body from having dealt with that, having dealt with the virus. I dealt with the virus last year. I went through my household. And so that blend has mullein leaf, it has nettles in it, it has raw honey, it has moringa, it has a lot of nutritional herbs just to help the body recover from, all of what was depleted, in dealing with, or a lot of what was depleted in dealing with being ill, as we do with any bug that comes through us. If you've got a cough, you need to take care of yourself so that you can rebound.
Yeah.
I also offer herbal teas and bath teas. This is how my hair teas come packaged.
Okay.
And so this is a hair tea, and you would brew this at home. It has, I don't know if you can see this, but it has several herbs. Now the powder that you see on the herbs, that is a blend of amla and ashwagandha, which are also really good for promoting hair growth and reducing hair fall. There's a whole combination. I'm not giving away my recipes on here, y'all. But there's a whole combination of herbs that promote hair growth, reduce hair fall, retain moisture, good for all types of hair, not just black hair, but good for all types of hair in the hair tea. You can use it as a rinse. You can use it as a spritz. And also bath teas that are packaged in a very similar way. I offer hair butters, botanical hair oils, and body butters. And so that's where we are with the product line for now. My branding is in process, website in development. And so pretty soon, maybe we can do a recap when those things are ready to fully launch, so that people can see where the online shop is. But right now, if anyone is interested in obtaining my products, they can reach out to me directly through Facebook, through Messenger, or message on my YouTube channel, which is Women of the Living Word. And I can consult with them directly. I am not a healthcare practitioner, or am I a licensed medical practitioner. So this is not about me practicing medicine or healthcare or anything like that. It's just about sharing what has worked for me through my wellness journey, and what I've learned from working with others and helping assist them with food and nutrition based off of what they consulted with their practitioner on for their dietary needs. So that's where we are with that, and I'm loving to be able to serve the Most High by making these products available to those who are interested in them, so that they can, better take care of themselves as part of their temple service. The body is the temple of the Most High, and we should be tending to our body temples and serving them well as part of our service to Him. And that requires nutrition, it requires rest, and it requires, self-love, as unto Him.
Yeah, that is good. Temple service is definitely, we have to take better care of our bodies.
Amen.
Shalom is something that we say all the time, but it's the meaning of it is that wholeness and that completeness of having everything. So we take care of our bodies, we take care of our minds, we take care of our spirit, the whole person. So we definitely that peace that you have, that the Most High has given you insight on, to be able to help us to fill in what's missing in the body. It's amazing how the body compensates. And when you were talking about how when a woman is pregnant, and if there's not enough nutrients there, that the body will pull it to make sure that the baby gets what it needs. The body kind of prioritizes, and it'll pull, from other areas. So the Most High has made our bodies so, brilliantly and so, adjustable to our life. So when we can get that part of put those nutrients back in our body, and it sounds like that's what the sea moss and the herbal mixes that you have is giving us, it's kind of filling in where we may be missing, and giving us that extra boost.
That's the whole focus, and the idea is more like a well-prepared meal. So for instance, if you were serving someone a meal, or me personally, I'll speak for myself. If I'm serving someone a meal, I'm going to serve them a balanced meal. I'm counting the colors on the plate, the spectrum of colors, because we get different areas of nutrition from different areas of food, and so he's so cool like that. He has the food color coded. We know we get energy, from green foods. We know red foods are heart healthy. We know white foods help boost our immune system. We know orange foods are rich in beta carotene and vitamin C and nutrients like that, that help fuel us. We know we get anthocyanins and other vital nutrients from foods that are dark purple and, blue. And so it's just like that. You know, if I'm going to serve someone a meal, I'm going to serve them a balanced meal. There's going to be an entree. There's going to be a starch. There's going to be a vegetable. You know, they're going to have spices in there, herbs in there. You know, we get anti-inflammatory properties and nutrients from cinnamon. You know, from cumin. From, you know, Yahweh told us to be light and salt. You know, we're to be light and salt, and so there's a flavor and a mineral component there that is a part of our vitality, our revitalization, you know, us being nourished. And so that's the idea, is for us to be nourished with these blends. You know, it's not just, you know, here's a chunk of meat, or here's just here's a big plate of rice, eat it. No, we don't do that. We want a balanced, you know, just like when when he gave us the Passover, you know, he says, you eat your meat, you eat it fully roasted with fire, and you eat it with these herbs, you know, with these bitter herbs, and it's balanced, you know, and you eat it with this bread. And so it is a balanced, nourished meal, preparing you for the journey ahead, you know, to be able to enter into that space that he's bringing us to. And so that's all of this preparedness work that we're doing, is to get us ready to be able to enter in to where he would have us be in that space and be nourished with him. You know, we are living stones, you know, and so that's how those two things are coming together with what he's been revealing to me, and what he would have me to do with these.
That's good. And I'll tell you, I was blessed to have some of your sea moss. I got one of your sea moss blends. I believe it was the strawberry with the ashwagandha and mullein, and I think elderberry. And so I've been afraid to mess with the sea moss. I've heard people talking about the sea moss, and you know, the picture of it is kind of, you know, so my fear was, you know, my thing was, I only want to try it if it's, you know, from somebody that I know, because I didn't personally want to get just the bare materials and make it myself. I wanted to get one of the gels. But you know, the way it is, I wanted to make sure it was from someone who I trusted.
Sure. Absolutely.
So I was glad when I encountered you and saw that you were, you know, that you were doing it. So I had some trust for you to be able to, you know, take that dive into the sea moss, and I was very pleased with it. The taste was good, was the thing that, you know, because I've heard about it being fishy and different things, and the smell was good. Like, it smelled great, you know, it had a berry smell to it. It was bright, you know, the color was bright, and throughout the whole time, like when I started and opened it up, it was bright. And even from the time when I took the last scoop of it, it was still the same bright, you know, it was strawberry, so it was pink colored. And it was good. Like, I know some people may mix it with something, but I just took it, ate it, and it was good. So that was the part that you know, really was interesting to me, how it smelled good, the taste was good, and so it was pleasant to take. It wasn't like one of those things where it was like, oh, I gotta take this every day.
Thank you.
It was
That's
good.
my goal.
Yeah,
is to make it
good.
To make it where it's not unpleasant. Right. You know, I'm glad that you were able to have a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
But I will say, I'm not marketing all my gels as being tasty.
Right.
You know, my goal right now is to get them to where they are not unpleasant. Right. You know, right. And that you can get the vital nutrients in your body without it being adverse. You know, like I said, you know, black seed oil does so much for the body, but that stuff is a gag. I'm just going to tell you, it's hard to get it in. But I found that if I put it in a blend, I don't detect it, you know, and so, wow, you know, I can actually get my black seed oil in without it being a punishment for me, you know, and it makes me more likely to go that route. There is a range in how some of the gels look depending on which herbs are combined. Some of these herbs can be very, very bitter. And my goal is to neutralize you know, so if the sea moss for me ranges from pretty much not having much of a taste at all to tasty, then I feel like at this point I've accomplished my goal.
Right.
which is not fishy. I've had some that was fishy. I had the powder and I had some capsules, and that's what got me into making it. I said, I can't do that because this is like, I feel like I'm eating something off the aquarium, like, like the fish tank.
Yeah.
We're not, no. So I wasn't happy with that at all, and yeah, bless my mother. She had my mother was a chef, and she was also a nurse. And so I had a balance coming from her on how to prepare food and how to prepare food nutritionally. So that's not just something that I've developed on my own. My mother was a restaurant chef. And so I've been fortunate to benefit from having come up in her kitchen. So I ordered my first sea moss, just the sea moss. And I actually got it from Belize, because I knew I want clean water sea moss. And I figured, Dr. Sebi was down in, Honduras. So I got it from Belize, and the gentleman sent it to me. I made my first batch of sea moss, and it didn't taste like what I had purchased, with the powder in that. Because there's a process when you clean the sea moss correctly and you soak it correctly and you give it the opportunity to alkaline correctly, it neutralizes the fishiness of it. There's a process. You don't just buy sea moss. Like this sea moss here, it doesn't smell unpleasant, but it smells like it's been in the ocean.
Right. Right.
It smells like it is what it is. It's a type of sea algae.
Right.
And I don't know anybody who wants a sea algae smoothie.
Right. It's not top of the list.
It just, and so I'm fortunate because I have a young lady who reached out to me because she had gotten good feedback on my blends, and she says, I'm going to give yours a try. When I had mine, it was like really super fishy. And I told her I'd love to make a blend for her, that I wasn't going to send her the Little Mermaid. That's what I call it, and for her to try it and see how that goes. And that being said, I'm actually preparing a sea moss gel blend. And I'm kind of trying to decide which way I'm going to call it, but I'm considering calling it the Little Mermaid. Yeah. Because it's not quite fishy, but it does have more of a sea algae taste, a little bit more, because it has the bladderwrack and it has the spirulina together. Okay. And sea moss, bladderwrack, and spirulina are all sea algae. Correct. But it doesn't, I'm actually taking it myself now, and I'm loving it. It doesn't taste like a fish smoothie, but it doesn't have all of the marine, that's the word I would use. It doesn't have all of the marine taste neutralized. You can, in that instance, because this is basically a marine blend. Yeah. But it's a very bright green, and it's good. And it's not, it's actually good. I do add honey to that one to kind of soften the taste a little bit. But it doesn't taste like, hey, somebody just served me a glass, off the fish tank, or from one of these beautiful Florida beaches down here. We don't do that. So I feel like that, that is something that I do want to offer as well for those people who understand, what is being offered here and have some familiarity with those herbs and want those as well. Yeah. Because everything doesn't have to be fruity fancy,
Right.
Yeah.
Just want to make it less offensive, and easier to be able to, take it every day, get it down.
Correct. And the gels range in consistency. Just so people are aware, there's a range from a consistency similar to an applesauce to more like a jelly cranberry sauce. So depending on the blend and how it sits up, it may be, because I use a lot of sea moss in my gels. I'm not sending folks just a jar full of mucilage. So when you find sea moss that is being advertised and it's just real runny like that, that's because they're using less actual moss in those gels. You know, the thicker the gel is, the more sea moss is in that gel.
Okay.
If it's super runny, it's less likely to have as much sea moss in it. Now, some of my gels are a bit thinner because depending on what's going on with the person, there is more herbal infusion in that gel. But my gels are heavy with sea moss, you know, so even though it's a little bit looser because there's more herbal infusion in that gel, my gels all have a substantial amount of sea moss in them. I'm not going to just take the water that I use to soak the sea moss, which will thicken on its own, and just market that to expand my sea moss. My sea moss gels are sea moss dense, you know, so you're actually getting what it is that you're paying for with my gel blends. So I would caution people who, those of you who may find gels that are very low in price, it may be because you're getting more sea moss water that has set up and thickened a little bit, versus the actual moss blended down, you know, because we do get what we pay for, you know.
True. That's definitely good to know, you know, while you're on the market and looking at comparing different things. It's good to know. So it's good to sometimes get things from, you know, get the background. That's why I wanted you to share today, to give a little bit of the details for people who have questions about, who haven't used sea moss before and have questions and trying to figure out, you know, what it is and how to compare. So it's good to be able to know where it's coming from. You know, it's good to know that the person has integrity, that's giving you something that's, you know, you're not just doing anything with, you know, but it's giving the quality of it, you know, as we should. And so that's excellent. So I definitely,
I'm sorry. I do want to add one little thing, because I've seen videos of people who are selling, you know, everybody wants to be in the sea moss game right now. And someone's, you know, some of the videos I've seen where people are saying, you know, you can eat as much of it as you like. It's so good for you. You know, you just get your jar and just eat it. No. You cannot do that. An excess of anything, even a good thing, is not good. Sea moss is very high and rich in iodine, naturally so. And so it's good for your thyroid, you know. But if you are eating more than the maximum of 2 tablespoons a day, which is up to 2 tablespoons a day is the recommended serving for sea moss. I typically take 1 unless I'm dealing with something in my body. You know, if I'm trying to counteract the cold, or if I'm having a flare up from my fibro or any of that, then, you know, then I'll take 2. But on a regular, I just take 1, you know, 1 a day. Sea moss, you should not just be eating sea moss and just plowing through a jar of sea moss because someone says, oh, it's good for you. You know, just like we understand that water is good for you, but if you drink too much water, you can throw your electrolytes out and throw your balance in your body off. So I just wanted to caution folks with that, because I have been seeing that a lot, where people have been just telling people to just eat sea moss without telling them that there is, you know, it's really dense in minerals. And so you do not eat more than two tablespoons of that for those who are interested in purchasing.
You haven't said that. Is there anyone who should not take sea moss? Is it anything that would be a danger to anyone?
It's a whole food supplement, so I'm not aware of anyone who should not take sea moss. However, there are cautions with regard to herbs, because herbs can function in the body like medicine. So certain people who are on certain types of medication, and women who are pregnant and nursing, need to be careful which herbs they are ingesting, because, you know, in this country, there isn't a lot of data that they have allowed to come forward with respect to how herbs function in the body. So people need to be they need to be cautioned of that. For instance, I'll just share. I had a woman who's pregnant reach out to me and wanted to purchase my butterfly pea flower superfood powerhouse sea moss gel. After Cynthia Cochran Richardson posted the pictures of her daughter, how her hair growth has changed since she's been taking my sea moss gel, and it's gotten longer and it's gotten thicker, and she's been having wonderful results. And so I had quite a few inquiries. Well, the butterfly pea flower is not appropriate for my pregnant and nursing mothers. It's great for you if you're not pregnant, but the anthocyanins and certain properties of the butterfly pea flower can possibly cause uterine contractions for women that are pregnant. And so I'm not comfortable with them purchasing that from me, So, there are other herbs and other dietary nutrients that are good for pregnant moms and nursing moms. For instance, fenugreek is one of them. I just did a fenugreek blend for a nursing mom, but not the butterfly pea flower. So folks need to, consult with their health professionals, if they want to start certain herbs, and also understand how certain herbs may interact with their medication. So for instance, if you are on high blood pressure medication, hibiscus, apple cider vinegar naturally can lower, butterfly pea flower naturally can lower your blood pressure. It doesn't for people who don't have hypertension, but if you do have hypertension, it can. In fact, that was because of the anxiety and the stress that I was dealing with when I had my setback. One of the things that happened, I was on stroke precautions for almost 18 months. And I was fortunate because I was able to prevent them from putting me on blood pressure medication. My blood pressure was spiking to where, my lower number, was the bigger issue. But I mean, my blood pressure was like 185 over 116 at its highest, which is crazy, but it was being driven by pain, not because I have a problem with my cardiovascular system. It was being driven by pain and by anxiety. And hibiscus was one of the ways that, along with a couple other things, but mainly hibiscus flower, was one of the ways that I got it under control. Managing the spikes, also with apple cider vinegar, and then also treating the pain and the stress. I used a combination of lavender and several other things, all that are food supplements, combinations of essential oils, and really taking care of myself that brought things down. And it's been, 2 years, and I have not had any significant issues with that problem anymore, And so through food and nutrition, Yah has corrected that in me. And me, choosing to maintain my peace and not allowing anyone to disrupt my peace. So I'm operating in that authority that Yahushua gave me when he said, peace, I leave with you. Shalom, I leave with you, and I have a choice whether or not I render that shalom, or whether or not I stand it. So I'm not allowing things to come in and to disrupt the wellness that Yah is creating in me, through me, and around me. I have to guard and protect it, just like he guards and protect his garden. When it was transgressed, you can't come back in here with that anymore. Right. I've set a guard over it till I set everything straight. This is off limits here. And we are to do the same. We are to put on his full armor, and we are to guard and protect, our shalom, and keep the mind of Yahushua, that is a mind for us to be transformed into his image. And that is an image of love and peace. And so that is my purpose in radiating his love, his peace, his kindness, his compassion, his discipline, all those fruits, to become a well-watered garden. A garden that is well-watered and densely able to sustain itself.
That's good. That's good. It's so important. So important. And I like the fact how you brought that back to, you know, the wholeness of not just taking care of the body. We got to take care of the body, but then we got to take care of our inner self, and guard that peace and take care of our whole self. We have to guard our spirit.
We do.
So we gotta cover the whole spectrum. As the Most High leads us and guides us, we have to cover the whole spectrum to make sure that our temple is protected. And so I appreciate the services that you offer in that, and being able to help educate us and provide the resources that we need to be able to take care of our body. And if you can share a little bit about how you're helping with the other areas as far as guarding our inner self and guarding our spirit with Women of the Living Word. Can you tell us a little bit about your ministry there?
Women of the Living Word is it's a place for the body to come together and just, I'm from Detroit, so I'll say just pull up, it's a safe space.
Okay.
And it was born out of a desire to be able to share without contention, to be able to share Yah's love and his compassion, from a posture of humility, from a posture of anawa, which is the word of him, coming in meekness and bending down low to tend to us, kind of like we deal with those who are needing nourishing, those who are hurting. When you serve someone, you kind of gracefully, you reach down and you serve them, and so that is the spirit behind Women of the Living Word, because the word is alive. And it quickens. It's surgical. It's precise. It's nourishing. It is opposite to chametz or leaven being insidious. It's more vascular. It permeates and it goes through like oxygen, and it electrifies and makes alive every cell in a holistic way, transmission, way, all the way through the whole system. And so that's the idea behind bringing us to a place where we can have healthy, safe discussion about Yahuwah's living word to be transformed. The people who are a part of that gathering space are from a various range of backgrounds, people trying to just simply understand the truth, simply hear the unadulterated word without camp doctrine, without agendas, without I'll say it this way: with freedom, with freedom to be authentically where they are. Just like when he dealt with the woman at the well, just like he dealt with the woman who was caught in adultery, just like he dealt with the centurion when he came to him and he said, he being Yahusha, can you see about my servant, and Yahusha had a heart towards the centurion, and he said, yes, I'll go to your home now. He says, I don't need you to come to my house. I'm also a man of authority. I know that if you say the word, that it is done, and this man was a Roman centurion. He was not a part of the nation. He was not a part of the body of Mashiach. He was a Gentile, he was outside of the covenant, and Yahusha responded to him in meekness and compassion and performed the thing that he said he would do without fanfare, and then went as far as to say, seldom have I found this type of faith, of amunah within the body, within the nation, you know. And so the purpose there is to reflect the love of Yahusha through how we interact with one another, you know, as human beings, from various parts of our journey, because we didn't all start. I mean, well, some folks, maybe they, were raised in the faith and have been perfect since conception, fully matured, and,
none of us
have it, they've reached the mark,
Right.
But for those of us like myself who have not, but are plowing towards the mark, we need a place to be able to be authentic and to share, hey, I'm struggling with this, or I don't understand this, or can you discuss this with me? What does this mean? Or like, when we have the Passover, during Pesach, the children ask the 4 questions. Why do we do this?
Yeah.
Why do, on all other nights, we eat, either, reclining or sitting or, or standing, we don't have these restrictions on other nights. We don't dip twice, on other nights, we don't have all of these bitter herbs. Why do we do these things? We need to be able to give account for what it is that we believe and why we believe it, and to be able to study to show ourselves approved, line upon line, precept upon precept, giving foundation for what it is that we do and why, and that is why Women of the Living Word was born. And that's the purpose that it serves. And it is my intention to guard it so that it remains a safe space, so that we don't have someone who can't be tended to, when we have a place where Yahweh Rapha resides as physician. He resides as physician tending a body that needs a balm. It needs a healing balm. And he is that soothing, healing balm. In our experiences, our oppression, our journey is where we get the oil, the pressing to anoint him, to serve him, to be lit for him. So unless someone is violating the tenets of humanity, I'll put it in those terms.
Right.
And I know that's a loaded term, but I said it that way for a reason. Unless someone is violating the tenets of humanity and decency, then it should be a safe space for them to be able to be a part of the discourse. And then either be welcome or they'll be unwelcome. Depending on what's going on with them, they'll either, feel comfortable to stay, or they won't, because it's not the place for them, and that's the function there, and that's what I hope to guard as Yahweh continues to prepare us for the day that we go inside the veil with him forever. That last Sukkot, that last great day. So that's what we're doing over there. We have a YouTube channel that is in its infancy. I'm learning how to edit and how to get this channel brought together in a way that is a little bit more visually appealing. So please be gentle with me, as all these things are in process of getting its layers, fluffed up so that it serves well, and there's a page on Facebook, a public page, where the posts are shareable, and where interaction is encouraged. And then there's a private group, all by the same name, Women of the Living Word, where we have those fleshed out discussions. And those posts in that group cannot be shared. They're locked, you know. So, of course, nothing is private on social media,
right?
You know. But it is a safe space to not go in and make a comment and have someone, you know, rain fire and brimstone down on your head because of where you are in your position. We also I don't have many rules, you know, but we don't have bullying there.
I think that's good. And I think I love the fact that that the group has been together for so long, and it's, you know, just a safe place to be able to eat is what, you know, what I see is a place to eat and to break bread and to be able to share the bread together, you know, share it and break it down. You know, when you have for example, when you have adults and you have children, sometimes they need help cutting their food up. They need help, you know, figuring out sometimes what is this, you know, and they need a little support, you know. So whether we're the ones that need a support, which we all are in need of support in different areas, you know, or we have an ability to be able to give support. Like, it's great that we need a safe place to be able to break bread and to fellowship, because that's what we do when we're breaking bread. We're fellowshipping and being able to have a safe, guarded space to do that. I like the way that you brought out just basic humanity. You know, sometimes when we're on the internet, we kind of forget about the fact that we do things on the internet that we wouldn't do if we were in person and in the room together. You know, we kind of forget, you know, so, but bringing us back to that humanity of we're sisters, we're brothers, you know, elders, mothers, you know, and, you know, we're here for each other, you know, and we're able to help each other, you know. So I love it. I love what you're doing with Women of the Living Word and what the Most High is doing in the midst of the group. And I love what you're doing with Garden of Vitality.
Thank you.
I love that you, you know, just took the time to share this with us today. I'll definitely have all of your information. I'll have your links, whether it'll be somewhere on the video, it'll be under the video. We'll have all your contact information to the group. And I'll update it once your website and everything becomes available. We'll update it, have that all here. So that our community can get a hold of you and reach out. So once again, I appreciate the time. I appreciate this conversation and all that the Most High is doing. And I pray that He continues to bless it and bring it out, and so that we all can grow together in word, in body, in soul,
Yes.
God out, you know, and as we grow as a community. So.
Hallelujah. Barak Yahuwah. Halal Yahuwah.
Hallelujah. All praises. So thank you.
Thank you.
And until next time, we'll definitely have you back if y'all willing. We'll continue to do this, and we'll have you back for another conversation.
And thank you. And thank you for everything that you've been doing. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for the service that you're providing, you know, with the bookmarks and the jewelry and bringing everything together. I love my bookmark, my Shepherd Staff bookmark that you sent me, you know, and even the conversations that you have brought forth, you know, and I got a chance to take a look at your website and your Etsy shop, and you are doing it. So I applaud you and salute you, and thank you so much for your posture and representing us as women well, you know, because we need that as sisters. We need to have those shining examples of Yah's character, you know, for us to look to and to be sharpened by. So I appreciate you, Yarah, and manifold blessings to you and your ministry, your business as well.
Praise y'all. Total Revive. Thank you, my sister. And it's good to see you face to face.
Yes.
We talk a lot over the internet, but it's good to get to just sit and chat with you face to face. So all praises. Hallelujah.